All right, so we'd like to welcome everybody to the December meeting of the Planning Commission of the Village of Southampton. Welcome, everybody. We have, I think, almost a full house tonight. So we'll just do quickly the Pledge of Allegiance. So pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and for the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. So we're going to do the roll call. Pamela?
Here.
Laura?
Here.
No, she may join us later. Eduardo?
Maybe.
Okay. Christian?
Here by video.
Okay. Bob?
Here.
Michael?
Here.
Michelangelo?
Present.
And Mark Schiffer here. Okay, fantastic. So
My video.
we have have a quick motion to approve the minutes of the previous meetings.
A second.
Second, everybody in favor?
Aye.
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 So the meeting are approved. We have here tonight a short agenda, but so the next item on the agenda was to get an update on the proposition 3 for affordable housing. So I'm not able to really give you a full update yet. Waiting to talk to the proper people at the town. Right now, they don't expect to have any real funds in the fund until 2023. It's going to be under the CPF, and they are still working out the staffing within the CPF to manage this fund. And the town attorney's office is preparing the application to appoint that advisory board that will make the recommendations regarding the use of the funds in the town. So it's something for us to keep on watching and be appraised of. The next item on the agenda here was that we were expecting an update from Paul Travis from the Sewer Committee. I think that he asked to still be postponed while they're still working out some of the details before he's ready to make a presentation on this. The next item that we have on the agenda is Alex Wallach. I don't know, is Alex with us, Charles?
No.
So we did send an agenda to Alex. So we're going to have to skip since he's not with us yet. On the items, we wanted to hear about the Art and Culture Overlay District that's being proposed. We wanted to also get an update on the architectural and the reconnaissance survey for the architectural structures within the village. Get an update on this. So hopefully Alex will join us later. Otherwise, he will ask him to speak about this at our January meeting. The next item on the agenda are updates on the task force. So the first one is the senior task force that Pamela and Laura have been working very hard on it. And I understand that you've had a meeting with Trustee Menger.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And we gave him the copy that we gave everybody on the board. They seemed very interested in it. And he was going to schedule a meeting with the village clerk to see how it would, if there was a person presently employed who could possibly put that into their schedule, a place for that person, or if we were looking at a new person, or just to see how the village could assimilate the plan.
So I understand that they're going to have, they're going to add a tab or a button on the village website that will be called the Senior Resources or Senior Task Force or Senior Subcommittee. And then once you click on that tab, there will be links to all of the senior activities in the area.
Mhm.
You'll have a link to the art center, you'll have a link to the cultural center, a link to the Heart of the Hamptons, a link of,
But you need a person
yes,
to-
to manage
to
it.
manage that, get
To
the
manage it,
names
yes.
of all the
Right.
people who could be interested
Yes,
in this, and to make sure that they are getting the information, because there's a large senior population here, and a lot of them have no idea the things that are available to them. And Laura and I had no idea about a lot of the things that are available. It's wonderful.
yes,
You have to make appointments and all, it doesn't come in a second, but there's a lot available. But we need someone needs to coordinate all that.
yeah. So that's the first step that, and I think it's a step in the right direction to service better our senior
So
population and the
Bill
senior
is meeting
population.
with the clerk to see how that places itself best in the village.
Fantastic, and I know the clerk has been doing a great job, and she's very also sensitive to this topic, so I know she'll do a great job.
Laura, that include Meals on Wheels, wouldn't it? Because my first wife was involved in that, delivering meals to seniors.
Oh,
Well, the village, not the village, excuse me, the senior centers all coordinate that, and yes, that information will be
Yeah,
there
because she
too.
used to go around with another woman and deliver the meals to the houses, the ones that couldn't come out.
Mhm.
right, they do this in Hampton Days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very good. Okay, so that's great job for Laura and Pam, and we'll look forward to hearing more from our village clerk. The next item was the tree initiative. Maybe Christian can speak about it.
We filed with the Arbor Foundation, the Southampton Village Tree City USA application day before Thanksgiving. It's complete, and we now have to wait for this process. Could take several months. We have written, the mayor has written letters to both the board of the Arbor Foundation as well as the New York State Forestry to support the application. That's always helpful, and I will reach out in Lincoln, Nebraska to make sure that it's there and in good order before the deadline, which effectively is December 31st.
Fantastic. So, and now we have a tree board.
We have temporary members on the tree board that were given in the application. We're still looking for members of the Southampton residents with very strong experience in trees to put their name forward longer term to serve on that board officially. So far, no one has been officially named by resolution by the Board of Trustees to do so. So two members of the Planning Commission for now will serve on that. We'll probably start meeting, as one needs to meet monthly, in early January until we can fill these seats with Southampton residents who are well-versed in tree and tree management.
And the acting superintendent, Steve Phillips, is one of the tree board member.
He or his designee would be on that board. Designee is, could be one of the arborists the village has.
Very, very nice.
Can I make a comment? Kathy Bellow's husband, Charlie, was very much involved with street lighting, but he's also very much in landscaping, trees and shrubbery and stuff, and so is Kathy. You might want to reach out to them. They live on Lewis Street.
Right, that's a good idea. Yeah, and for everybody, anyone listening, we definitely would welcome people to get more involved. I think it's very important to upgrade our streetscape and get better trees and yeah, definitely. So all right, so thanks a lot for the update, Christian, and we look forward to being able to see all those street signs that will say Tree USA or Tree all around the Southampton village. The next item is the Real Estate Acquisition Task Force. We have met, and we have met with Trustee Aresta. There is some progress being done. At this time, it's a little early to discuss it further, but I think good work is being done.
Yeah, I think we can let people know. We met with the owner of the property on Elm Street and Hampton Road with Trustee Aresta. Spoke to him about, he's very willing to speak to the village mayor and the village trustees concerning the property and the possible sale of it. But right now, he's awaiting a meeting with the trustees, the full trustee board and the mayor before we can move forward.
Right. There's some more studies that need to be reviewed, and the funds available, and how we would finance such purchase. So, but it's moving in the right direction, and it will be a great acquisition for the village, right in the heart of the village. So this is progressing. The next item on the list is the term limit task force. With Pamela, we've met with the task force, where we have 5 members. We have Pamela, myself, and 3 other members of the community, the village residents. And we've met, and I think it's been, we're working towards resolutions of modifying. I think there's a consensus that to have elections every year is really burdensome. And also, we also believe that it may not be the best governance. So we think that to look at this issue is a good thing, and we are coming up with various solutions, and we should have recommendations to the Board of Trustees, who ultimately will be making the decision in January. So the term limit task force has been doing a great job also, working on behalf of the village to look at this very important element. The next item on the agenda that we have is the deer task force. I don't know if you have anything to report.
Well, there's no updates as of this past month. It's a little bit too late now to get involved with any hunting or anything that we can do right now, because you have to do it between the months of August and January 1st. I mean, October and January 1st. So it's a little bit too late. So we're still in the process of going through paperwork, getting in touch with DEC and certain people to try to iron this out.
Right. I think Michael Irving
Yes,
has
I
joined.
spoke to Mayor Irving, who was very, very helpful
Right.
with the policies he put in place in the past. So we're just gonna follow up on those policies, hopefully.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Because I think it's everybody I speak with, I think it's a really has become a real issue. The amount of deer in the village. I've never seen this before.
Right.
That they really, you see Bambis everywhere. So
Tell me about it. I have no shrubbery left in my house.
all right, exactly. Exactly. Now they're jumping the fences, and it's, so hopefully we'll have a mild winter, and it's not gonna be too much of a problem. The next item that was.
I'm sorry, before we move on, can I ask Michael Anderson a question?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Michael, you were looking at resolutions that the previous administration had put in place for deer management. I think, could you confirm you found those resolutions that were put in place, I think, in 2018?
Well,
And could you also confirm whether or not you found any dissolution of these resolutions subsequent to 2018?
Still, I'm in contact with the village here, Christian, trying to iron that out. There seems to be some discrepancy as to whether or not the resolution was passed, but some people have said that that resolution was revoked, and we might need to start from square one. I've been speaking with Charlene. She's going through the records to find out if that resolution was rescinded. But right now, we don't know.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah, exactly. I think some of it was applied and then it was rescinded. I think there was a lot of opposition to
Well,
culling.
let's hope it wasn't rescinded, because if it was rescinded, then the board, it has to go before the trustees and the mayor for a vote once again.
Right,
So, we're looking into that now.
yes. I think that it's an issue.
Gentlemen,
Yes.
and Pamela, it brings an interesting question that this village still doesn't have an electronic version of their resolutions. And to do a search, it's all physical through documents. I find it extraordinary in 2022, we don't have these documents electronic and be able to do an easy search to find a resolution.
Yes, I think that's a very good point, and I just noted it. It's something
No,
that,
that's a great point, Christian. It took weeks of searching
not-
for them to
It's
find.
not right.
find
It's
out
not
to
right.
find
When
the
in
resolution.
2022, these documents should be fully searchable.
Right.
right,
'Cause you
I mean, this
you
is a
have new
$35 million
employee-
budget.
And you have new employees that have come and gone, and old
Yeah.
employees. It's very arduous, so
yes,
maybe we should create something of a task force here to recommend that the village do something as far as put everything on the
the
computers.
records, yes.
Yeah.
I thought the mayor was working on that already. I mean, he's very,
Well-
very advanced as far as electronics and communication and whatnot.
Right. I mean, this is something that I think should definitely look into. I mean, I know that the town has been doing quite a bit, and they have in the village the right programs that we are using, and it's just a matter of adding modules to the program. I don't know, what is the name of that program? Do you know, Michelangelo? It's like a city. There's a program that the municipalities use where you can add modules
Mhm.
that can then, people can access the plans of the applications that are for development, including
I'm
resolutions.
not too sure if the town is really a leader in this one. I know other municipalities
Right.
have some tools that they use.
Right, but it's called, the name escapes me right now, but the village uses that software also, and it's just a matter of adding the modules. To
Can
be
I ask
able-
one question? What is the village doing to protect themselves against cyber attack like the county just got?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the other
We
side
don't have
of
it
the,
on.
Yes.
that's the other
We
side,
don't
yes.
have it on
Yes,
text, then we don't have a.
yeah, it then requires another level of IT. Right,
Well, it begs the question, if you have a fire in Village Hall and we lose all these documents, if we only have one copy in Village Hall, it's amazing.
that's right. You're absolutely right. No, this is definitely something that we should look further into, and I'll ask Alex to maybe look into it a little bit more. On the next item that we have here is about a workforce housing overlay or business improvement district. I think Michelangelo, did you have a chance to look into it, or the business?
This is the,
Business Improvement District.
right. And what is our next action on this?
Well, the next action is to look into it, to see whether there is a requirement in the village to establish a business improvement district. What would be the advantage to create a business improvement district?
Mhm.
What grants might then become available to
Well, I
us
think
through the
Business
states?
improvement districts are just inherently about taxes and how you tax, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm. All right, so it's something that we'll table right now. We'll look into it a little further.
But Mark, were you talking about workforce and senior housing or business district? What are we talking about?
Well, it's
Business-
item number 7.6 on the agenda, where these were two items that we had discussed at the last meeting. One was whether we should look into creating that workforce housing overlay.
Well, that's separate than a
Then
business.
the bid, yes, it's separate.
Right.
It's separate.
Thank you, Michelangelo. So on
Yeah.
that front of workforce and senior housing, BFJ Frank Fish is coming up, is being retained, and is going to come up with recommendations for us to look at.
Okay,
Have
Yes,
we
that's right.
reviewed the town's housing plan and seen how any of that may be applicable to what we're pursuing?
Recommendation for Frank Fish. I'm sure he knows his job. He would do it, I would hope.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, so we'll, yeah, okay, fine. All right, so we'll ask Alex to also update us on that, on this next time in January. The next item on the agenda here, I have any other updates on news and developments on the village? If anybody has any updates?
That I know of.
I'm sorry, on task force, are we still talking about the mobility task force? Is that on your agenda?
No, no, the mobility task force, no.
I just want to bring the point that whoever's on this mobility task force, and I guess this is two chairs, co-chairs,
No,
Mhm.
no,
I
One also.
had a chance to review section 4-3 of the master plan. And there's a lot on bicycle and pedestrian circulation, starting on page 45. I was wondering if any of you have actually read it and have any opinions on the recommendation of the master plan.
No,
That should be what the commission should be working on.
Yeah, no, I need to not only review the master plan to that level, especially within context and mobility, but also bring some of those action items to the elected board and get an idea on what interests them. Jesse at some point had that organization Bird had presented regarding the scooters. We did what we were supposed to do. We spoke with them, we listened to their presentation and realized that it might not be the best fit for this municipality. Especially when paying attention to what the town's done with the bike share program. The bike share program, I just got that report today, actually. So in the town, including the village, this includes Agawam Park. I don't remember it off the top of my head for Agawam directly, but I think there was over 450 rides in this area. So there's a positive note that some of these programs are actually working. But thank you, Christian, for reminding me to look at that document.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a planning commission, we should be reading this master plan. And on mobility, there is an entire section on it with recommendations that your task force should be looking at it and,
Right.
and reflecting back to this commission and with ideas of what you want to do with these recommendations. A lot of work's gone in. It's good. Page
How about,
59.
How about the next step would be, at the next meeting, I'll have a list of those actions that have really kind of caught my eye that I think might be practical. I can weigh your opinions on that and then go to the board on what interests them. Does that work for everyone?
Well, yeah, we did participate. I mean, I attended a forum at the county on the mobility and transportation, and that's where we got, we contacted a person who has this app for, to encourage ride sharing, to try to deal a little bit with the traffic within the village. This trade parade that we see every morning is mostly, it's only one person in each car. So I think the ride sharing, I think it's very important to work with the county and on this effort.
We could recommend to the village board to maybe perhaps put an RFP out to see what kind of ride-sharing organizations would be interested in working with the municipality. Could be premature. So,
A master plan's been adopted with specific mobility recommendations. Could we at least start with that?
All right.
yes.
Okay, so let's review it, and we'll continue on that. I think that's a good point, and Eduardo will look into it until our next meeting. On the next point is number 9, is that any additional public comments or discussions? Well, on the updates on the village and news and development, I just wanted to touch upon, we had a person last month who spoke about that proposed development adjacent to the village for the affordable housing development. I think that maybe we should look into it. also. I think that, I think the mayor has, Christian or Michelangelo, do you know anything about whether our mayor has taken any stance on this?
They've requested an extension with the town, so that they can provide their agency comments for the FEIS.
Right. So that's something that we encourage everybody on the board to look into, and then maybe we should also at the January meeting.
I think there was an article in the Southampton Press on that just recently.
Yes.
That's the one, it's the Full Gospel Church, the property,
Yes,
the
exactly.
5 acres.
Yes, yes.
There was a lengthy
Yeah, they were-
article in there.
Yes.
Referencing my presentation to the planning board.
Right. So there was and it is actually, I think a section of that property is in the village. A small section of that property is within the village boundaries. So it's actually surprising that it's not in front of our planning board.
Well, it has a second tax map number, and none of the proposed improvements take place on that corner.
Well, that's a technicality that, that's, can be brought up, but I'm not so sure that, our planning board doesn't have some jurisdiction on that development, since part of that
The-
parcel is within the village.
Sure, I think 3 years ago when this project began, I think maybe in 2018, are we at 4 years? Well, the planning board and the village board would have been informed and could have had the opportunity then to speak, and they may have taken that opportunity, I don't recall. But they were probably identified as an involved agency via SECRA, so that they could offer their comments and be heard. And it would have gone to the village board, and the village board would have most likely needed to delegate to the planning board within the village.
Right, so maybe we'll reach out to the planning board to see. So we'll update. Any other updates?
The other thing is possibly when the village boundaries were set mostly through potato fields now. And I think possibly maybe we ought to start thinking about maybe using County Road 39 as a boundary line and expanding the village, following 39. So there won't be this problem about these lots, part of this being part of the village and part of it being in the town.
I think that's a
What do
very,
you think of that, Michael?
I'm not too sure. I mean, the whole annexation and like the boundaries like that, it's kind of beyond me. It gets quite political. I do maybe want to take this moment to just address one point. When you think about like my role at the town, I just receive these applications and then I have to like review them as per our code and then as per SECRA. So I don't really have an opinion. We just weigh the balance of pros and cons and then present that to the people who have to make an action. So if you do have questions that you would like me to answer because I'm knowledgeable on the DEIS, then I'm here and I can help you all. But I don't, just so you're all on the same page.
no, I understand, we understand that. But the question that Bob is raising, I think it's a very interesting question about the boundary of the village that was very arbitrary, and in the sense that some of it was changed recently when they did Bishop's Pond. When they did the development of Bishop's Pond, they actually adjusted the boundaries of the village, and there's a question whether some of the boundaries should be reviewed.
Well, the village boundaries have expanded 3 times over the history of the village. I
It's
think
just,
the
we're at,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
The first time, I believe it went west and took in Wickapog Road all the way up to the old Ford Estate. And then the next time it went, I think it was Halsey Neck down that area to Road D. And then the final thing was from Road D to the inlet.
Yes, I think that area also is completely arbitrary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
it's just
should be reviewed.
we're trying to solve some of those problems where you got a piece of property that it's part in the town, part in the village. It's just trying to, if it was all in the village, it'd be just one board handling instead of 2 boards and 2 separate governments.
No, I think it makes sense that at least the boundaries should be along roads, like Flying Point Road, or instead of going right
Yeah.
through properties.
Yeah.
In this instance, the village board doesn't have any jurisdiction. They are identified as an involved agency. They're not the lead agency. Lead agency is the town board. The way the town code is written, change of zone applications are discretionary acts. That means that the town board has the right to say no, really at any point. Once you get deeper into SECRA it gets a little bit more complicated because they're adopting portions of this project, basically saying that, okay, we're okay with this, we're okay with this. So when they decide to say no or yes in the end, it has to really be based on secra rather than discretion, I think.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of gets a little more complicated.
Right, but I think that the point that Bob is raising is not necessarily just for that particular development.
Correct.
It's in
Yeah, I get
general.
it.
I mean,
I get it.
there is, in the area of Wicker Park also, there is a lot of properties where I think it should be really Flying Point Road.
Yeah.
That should be the dividing line. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, whereas, even I think there's a park.
Yeah, but you have to realize that 1894, when they laid out the village, it was all farmland.
Right,
And it's like, in my neighborhood, where Tuckahoe School cuts through, the north end of my development, the houses on the very north end, when the people bought the property, they were told it was in Southampton School District. And after about, I think, 5 or 6, maybe 10 years later, they were informed they were in Tuckahoe School District, and the kids had to go to Tuckahoe.
right, exactly. No, I think it's a great point worth looking into. Okay, the next, anything else on the village? There's,
On the subject of zoning, the master plan has a whole discussion section 3-2 on zoning. And I thought maybe I wanted to see everyone's opinion on the subject of the Southampton Hospital, which is Zone MD. And if and when they depart their operation to Stony Brook, the foundation, which manages the asset, the hard asset of the land, is going to want to maximize the return on that. And what I want to understand is everyone's view on that general topic, and so that we don't try to close a barn door after horses have gone, that we could preempt some of the discussions that is squarely into the village boundaries, and see if there's a way to ensure that possibly most of the land around the MD is, at least to the south, an R80. That if they attempt to rezone this, that there could be something we put in place ahead of time, so that we have a situation where we deal with it at, much upstream, and see what everybody's thought is on this board about this.
Christian, were there specific comments in the master plan for that site? I don't recall.
There's some reference to the medical district, as it's called, but there aren't any really.
Like future.
I shouldn't say that. I haven't gone through the details on that. I don't recall. Yes, there is, page 35.
Okay.
There is some discussion on it.
right.
And so-
I think that, it's definitely a topic that we should, be proactive on. It's, there's a lot of elements that add some complexity to it. One of them is the fact that the Southampton Hospital does own a multiple amount of properties around there, and they are mostly serviced through a sewage treatment plant, which is their own private sewage treatment plant. So, yeah, but it's definitely something that we should be proactive, that we should look into it. I know that there is a neighborhood association that was created of citizens and residents in that area that are concerned with the move of the Southampton Hospital. So they are also looking into it. So maybe we could, in the either next meeting or the meeting after, invite them and maybe have a discussion, open the discussion to what could be done.
Invite whom?
This association, maybe to speak and bring up their concern, and then listen to what the public is saying about what kind of rezoning we would like to see.
Mark, well, the only thing is, I would say two things. One, having multiple parcels in this area wouldn't necessarily complicate it. In fact, it might even be to our advantage, because then we're like zoning based on like a district rather than one parcel and like spot zoning. And having recommendations or some kind of study that has recommendations is really what we should do, because the ZBA, if I'm not mistaken, is the one who would have the action here. They would review this study and the comp plan and those recommendations, and that would inform what decisions they would make when an applicant comes with an idea and says, hey, I want to do senior housing here, or hey, I want to do a nursing home here. Those we would have studied and reviewed and said, well, the public, through our feasibility study or our study of this specific parcel, is interested in these things, or they're not, and that it would really help those boards who have to make that decision when the time comes.
No, but
That's
the
a
thought-
really good point, Michelangelo, and I just think that for 2023, of sort of the main axis of focus of the planning commission, I'd like to see if the rest of the group thinks this is a
Right.
important enough subject to really start working on this and perhaps make the recommendation for such study to be made and direct that study, given what the public may have to say in that area.
Well, let's review it. I think that the idea of to answer quickly to Michelangelo's comment, the idea is that not to have it go to the ZBA. The idea is to take a proactive approach, rezone the area such that it does not go into.
Who does the rezoning? Is that the village board or the ZBA? Who has that jurisdiction?
No, it's the village board.
The village board, but change of zone applications go to the ZBA?
I mean, that kind of rezoning.
Yeah, but as long as the hospital is there, I don't think you can rezone anything.
Exactly.
I mean,
Well, right, but when the
So-
day comes that they put it for sale, an applicant may have, someone may purchase that property or have an agreement with the landowner that they want to do X, Y, or Z there pending a change of zone
I
application.
think the hospital will probably, at that time when they're getting ready to sell, or they have, the time frame to do that, they're probably gonna be approaching the village with some proposals for us to consider.
Yeah, I think so too.
We're doing it backwards, that is, they're gonna be coming to us versus us going to them, because we can't do anything as long as there's still.
I
a
would make
hospital.
that assumption,
Yeah, they could just sell it to the highest bidder and then.
and they're going to, that's their
Zoning.
mandate.
Yeah, so there's existing zoning there.
Right.
And when they sell this property, that would be their angle, is who's gonna pay the most for what they can do with that property there. Now, we can have a proactive role, have recommendations on how it should be zoned, that the village board would then act on, and think about uses we would want there as a community, and that could all be not necessarily codified, but put into comp plans and studies so that we can act on that. Or it's put into studies and then an applicant comes and then, there's the change of zone application. There's really kind of two paths. But
Right.
having some.
Michael, I'm sorry that I joined late. I just wanted to see if you had read the recommendations of that site that were in.
No, do you know them, Alex?
Not off the
Okay.
top
Alex
of my
joined
head,
us now?
but I did.
Okay, great.
Yes, I can tell you that there is a zoning strategy that's outlined in the comp plan for that particular site.
I couldn't
Yeah,
understand.
It says that there is a zoning strategy that's being reviewed to what to deal with the hospital. And also the hospital has retained a large architectural engineering firm to come up with also proposal solutions and to actually get the best value for the hospital in terms of uses. So
That's right.
there's a lot of eyes are being looking into that possibility. But since
And they had comments on the comp plan as well.
yes. So well, since Alex has just joined us, I just wanted to go back to was there any update on the art and culture overlay district?
Only that it's been contemplated, but I don't think there's been any progress in the last meeting.
Okay, and on the survey for historical structures, has this been completed or it's being reviewed?
So it's the last project update. It was about 30% finished, and that was about a month ago.
Okay, that's great. I mean, I think that's survey is very, very important. I think it's extremely important that to keep, the flair and of our village and try to make the most of try to preserve the historical structures in the village. Try to get the
Mark, I want to ask one question. What about the fines for tearing down a historic building? Has that changed at all?
Is this being looked at? Because
I think it's something that the trustees have thought about looking into whether there needs to be additional fines.
right, I mean the process to get a demolition permit has definitely been improved a lot. I think Alex actually was instrumental in improving.
What I'm saying,
the-
if somebody goes ahead and forgets the demolition permit, just knocks the building down, and then,
Yeah, that's,
what would be fine? Last thing, when I was in architecture review, it was $800 if you knock the building down,
right. This is,
which is peanuts, to
right.
put it mildly. I think it should be set that if they do a building like that, they can't do anything to that property for 2 years, and then they'll have to reapply all over again.
Well, I think this is something maybe that for, to review all of the fines that are being imposed for violations under the building code.
Hmm?
They have an ISO.
Yes,
2 years.
this is, that's something that should be reviewed, all of the fines. Okay, and then, so which other points do we have for Alex? Is there anything else that you want to update us on, Alex?
Alex, did we hear back from the workforce and senior housing proposal from Frank Fish?
Yeah, I think they're still revising the scope of work and what that might look like. So they're still getting some input from the trustees about which direction they want to go with that.
Okay, so for the workforce housing overlay district. Okay, very good. All right, then, so I'll just go to the next item on the agenda, if there's any public comments. Do you have any, we have here a member of the public right here. No comments?
You said on the next item?
Yes, on the next item on the agenda. Well, we're at the public comments now. So if you want to speak, yeah, please.
It's Christine Sullivan Wicker. I could just say that Walter Dean, I go to his meetings for the Neighborhood Hospital Association.
Yes,
And Walter Dean is the person that you should talk to.
yes, thank you so much. And he's a very good and very active resident, and we welcome his input. Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know because I came in a bit late, but did you talk about did you go over the trees and the deer?
If you
Oh,
could-
sorry,
Use
did
your
you
mic.
go over the trees?
Pull the mic down.
My name's Christine Sullivan Whitker, by the way. Did you go over trees or those
Yes,
things?
yes, we did go over the
Oh, okay.
trees.
Well, I just tell you something interesting because maybe you have some leverage. This morning, I live on Cameron Street, and this morning there was a wind gust at 10 of 9, and I happened to be at the edge of my driveway, which isn't, it's not big. And I heard this gust and I felt this gust and this tremendous crunching. And the tree in front of, if you knew Frank Rotuno's house at 57, completely crashed into the road. And I happen to know that they've, in the past complained about. So I think there are some really dangerous trees. I mean, there could have been cars going by and somebody could have been crushed. You should go by sometime because part of the, I called it into the police, but part of the, and they sent the DPW people, but part of the sidewalk was smashed, indented from this part of this tree falling.
Absolutely, and it's a real issue in terms of aging. We have a lot of aging trees in
Right.
the village, and this is why, with the input and initiative of a few of our members, like Christian, Michelangelo, Michael Anderson, we are now becoming a Tree City USA.
No, I
We're going to have a
understand.
tree board,
Attended.
but it's absolutely very timely, and you're right. There are a lot of trees, and then that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is that the DPW also has had a lot of change in personnel.
I understand.
We've had actually one of the person right now who's one of the main tree person is out sick. I think he got hurt on the job. So we had issues with the equipment. So
What are you talking about, Sean?
was it? I think so. I don't remember the first name.
Anyway, and the other thing is the deer are a huge issue.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your comments. Okay, very good. Well, I'd like to wish everybody a happy holidays and a happy new year. And then I'd like to have a motion to adjourn to our next meeting on January 5th.
Make a motion.
Second, anybody second?
Second.
Second, so Happy New Year and hope to see more involvement of the public at our next meeting in January.